So the download of today is actually an extension of yesterday. So I was just reflecting over the story, and Acts 28 verse 9 really struck me, and it said, "So when this was done, others also which had diseases in the island came and were healed." And it really got me thinking, because the author of this chapter and of Luke, he's a doctor, he's a physician, and he would have been a witness, an eyewitness to a lot of the healings that Jesus did, but also once the Holy Spirit came on the apostles and the rest of the church, and the Church of Christ was born, he would have also been witness to a lot of the healings that they did, that he may have done himself as well. And that, again, in this situation, that Paul, he saw that healing that Paul did, Paul in himself, when he was bitten by the snake, not falling sick, but then also healing the father of Publius and all those other people that were healed. And it's just interesting because he's standing as a doctor in that time. He medically may not have been able to explain a lot of the things that were going on, and it's almost like God uses anyone, but also sometimes positions people that can then be like, no, this is a miracle and I can't explain this medically. And it just reminded me of my personal story with my arm, how I was paralysed and in my arm, and the amount I'd learned about nerves just from having had that injury myself. I knew everything there was to know about brachial plexus, about how fast nerves grow. I knew that my arm the nerve had been compressed for 11 weeks by the time I got round to surgery, that a week longer it would have died. And also that nerves only grow for 2 years, and so because of the length of time they grow, they can regrow, and the rate they regrow, it would only have been possible for the nerves to regrow to my wrist. And the surgeon knew that, and he's the top guy in London, and was just like, you'll probably get it, sensation back to your wrist, if that, but the hand we probably need to do another operation. And it's funny because, like I said, I can't explain it medically, he can't explain it medically. A lot of my friends who were around me at the time are doctors, and even they can't really explain it medically. And what we do know is that it's a complete miracle. It's a miracle how it went from being like you won't get your function back in your hand to fully moving. And just for the fact that for the nerve to regrow from where it was compressed, it would have had to grow down. It would be like cutting a tree down and expecting the tree to grow in exactly the same position, make exactly the same branches, and then those branches do exactly the same things that the old tree did. Like, it's impossible. And when those branches then do grow, for that to then feed back to my brain that, oh, okay, that branch, it does that, this branch of the nerve does this neuron does this. It was an impossible ask. It was, yeah, as my surgeon says, a complete miracle. And I love that. I mean, I can't explain it as a doctor, he can't explain it as a doctor. People around me who walk the journey with me, who are medical, also can't explain it. And like I said, in the words of the surgeon, it's a complete miracle. And that's without a shadow of a doubt. And it really made me think about redemption, actually, and how God can use any story. In Acts, we saw how God used Peter's shipwreck and arrest to bring about healing for some people and to deliver the gospel to a whole island, which now is still Christian, so still has the after effect of that in some way, shape or form. And it really got me thinking that actually, although my arm is the worst thing I went through, I know that through it, people who saw that journey or who were there for my story were blessed. And actually some people, for them it was a sign that actually there was hope, that miracles do happen and are still happening. And although it's the hardest thing, and I would definitely not be running to go through it again, or not be volunteering to that on anyone, what I did realise is that God really took that hard time in my life and really turned it for good, for my life as well, and my walk with God, and just becoming closer to Him from that experience, but also with other people. And it really got me thinking, because as I was going through it, it was hard, and I wasn't really screaming, shouting, jumping about what happened. And even now, I don't really talk enough about what God has done in my life and how He's redeemed me and saved me and healed me and made me whole. And I think about that. I also think about a lot of the things I went through as a child. I was doing child safeguarding not too long ago, and it talks about adverse childhood events and things that children go through that can really be points of cause trauma or make them more likely to be vulnerable children. And as I was doing that session, I realised that through childhood I went through a lot of that, and actually as I am, a lot of that I've just pushed to the back, but actually I should be more vocal about telling people how God has brought me from A to B, the complete day to night transformation that's happened in my life that I can't explain outside of it's God, and it's his love and his grace and his mercy and his kindness, his goodness, and his redemption in my life that has brought me to where I am today and what I look like now, because I'm aware that people who meet me now, people who know me now, only know me as I am now, but that's very different to who I used to be, and that changes God, and I don't shout enough about that. And I realised as well, as Christians, we can do that a lot. Like once we've been redeemed, once we've been saved, once we've been made whole, we often don't talk about the less colourful, less glamorous parts of our lives that we've walked through. Sometimes from shame, sometimes from guilt, but sometimes because we just don't like dwelling in the past of where we've come from, and we like to focus on where we're going. But actually, our past can be used by God to bless others, to show others that salvation is possible, that it's free, it's nothing that we earn, it's not by works, it's a gift freely given from God, and it's available to everyone. And I think if more of us were to tell our stories, then people will be blessed through that. And then it really got me thinking about the verse, Psalms 107, verse 2, which says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy." Some other versions say, "Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story," or tell how God has taken them from brokenness and made them whole, from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light. And that's really what we need to do. Yes, we need to run our race and build the kingdom and win souls, but a lot of that and how we do that is through telling our stories and say, hey, look, this is what I was blind, now I'm free, I was broken, now I'm whole, I didn't do anything to deserve it, it's nothing I did, it's nothing I paid for, it was completely free, and it was all God and nothing to do with me. And what is available to me and what I've experienced is available to you, it's available to everyone, and you just have to ask God and he will give it to you. And I think, yeah, we need to do more of that and less trying to pretty the picture of the mess of our pasts. Anyway, that's the download for today, and I'll see you tomorrow.